Hey everyone, this is Michael with the general reading for Capricorn's Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the month of February 2020. I do hope this video finds you all well, whether you're watching it for yourself or cross-watching for another individual with Capricorn placements. I want to thank all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It's because of all of you I'm able to continue sharing these messages and doing this incredible work, so thank you so much. I do have a few quick announcements to make before we dive into the actual reading. Firstly, my services are currently unavailable, and I will be resuming them towards the middle of the month, the middle of February. I don't have an exact date right now for when I will do so, but I have all of my links in the description box down below, as well as links for my social media accounts where I will be posting when everything is available and back online. I do also host giveaways and sales, and it's a great way to keep in touch and informed of all the things I'm doing with my channel and my work. I do also apologize that it's been quite some time since I have done the mid-month readings. I honestly had kind of a difficult month last month. That's actually why I'm taking some time off from my services. I had some issues with my health and some issues with my technology. I had to replace my phone unexpectedly. And honestly, I was just very exhausted. I was so drained from last month. So I know a lot of people related to that. A lot of people were also going through a difficult time. So I'm going to be taking some time just to catch up to personal readings and getting back on my feet. And I really do want to come back full swing into this channel. I'm actually feeling like I'm going to be changing up my content in some pretty exciting ways and expanding some things as well. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. It's really the direction I'm excited to go in most, and it feels like the universe is actually guiding me to make these changes, to step forward in this way now. So I hope you're all looking forward to those exciting changes. And then finally, I am going to be foregoing the astrological report at the start of this video. I've been doing this for a few months now. Before the tarot reading, I'll go over the astrological transits and aspects, but honestly it started to feel redundant because I was basically repeating myself. The tarot and the astrology were so in line. I was basically saying the same message twice. So I'm actually just going to be streamlining the astrology into the actual reading as I see fit. I do, however, have the astrological forecast blog that is still available in the description box down below. It's a great way of finding out what might be happening when. You can look at the dates for the specific transits and aspects for this month, and also just look at the overall energy for the collective as a whole. I personally think the astrology and tarot work very well together, and I'll be curious to hear your feedback in the comments down below, if this flows better than the way I was doing it previously, or if you actually liked having the astrological report at the intro of the video. I might even be making them separate videos in the future as well, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts and ideas on that. And without further ado, I think we should just start pulling some cards for you, Capricorn. I'm really curious to see what we have for you. What are the messages for Capricorn coming into the month of February? We're kind of looking at the first half of February here. And as I'm shuffling, I do just want to give my friendly reminder that this is a general reading, meaning not all of the messages that come forward are going to be meant for you specifically. It is up to your own intuition and discernment to figure out what applies to your own life and what should be left behind for someone else. Because these are general readings, they may or may not resonate with everyone either. If they don't, that's totally fine. Nothing went wrong. I always set the intention for these readings to reach the people who need to hear them the most. And if you'd like greater clarity, or you just want to try another message, I definitely recommend looking at your moon, rising, or Venus sign videos. If you don't know what those are, there is a natal chart calculator in the description box down below that can help you figure all of that out. Now, we do have some cards on the table for you already. We have the Page of Swords, the Ten of Cups in reverse, and the Hierophant. And then we do also have the Nine of Cups and the Star in reverse. Wow, this is really interesting. I feel like, Capricorn, there's the start of this new adventure for you. This could be something that was happening for you in January as well, because we are looking at the start of February here, kind of the first half. There might be some sort of new venture. There's just this sense of working on something new, learning something new, maybe communicating with someone new at the start of this month. And I have to be honest, there is this sense of disappointment. Some of you are coming into February feeling a little bit weighed down, perhaps, with this Hierophant, maybe stuck in a traditional job or a traditional relationship that's just not giving you the happiness that it once was, or the happiness that you thought it would give you. And I'm especially seeing that with the Nine of Cups and the Star in reverse. There's this sense of trying to manifest something, have a wish come true, and at least for the first half of the month, it doesn't feel like that's happening, or it's happening in a quick enough way. And I almost interpret this Page of Swords as a little bit of an anxious, eager sort of energy, wanting things to happen very quickly, but something is holding you back. And it could be someone who's very traditional, maybe a Taurus individual as this Hierophant here. I have to be honest, for some of you, and of course this is a general reading, this is not going to apply for all of you, there may be some issues with a marriage, because the Hierophant often represents marriage, and the Ten of Cups in reverse signifies some chaos, some discord in a relationship. There may be a disagreement on belief systems for some of you, regardless of whether you are married to this person or just interested or in a relationship. There's a difference in beliefs that is causing some discord, and you're not really sure what it is you want at the start of this month. It does really feel like some of you are starting something new. Again, going back to this Page of Swords, and it feels like for the majority of you, this thing isn't giving you the happiness you thought it would. And maybe it was just a really traditional or secure job or opportunity that was given to you, and it felt like it had some long-term potential, but at least at the start of the month, you're having a hard time finding happiness with it. So I'm really curious to see what the animal wisdom is here. And this is interesting too, because I know at the start of the month, we do have Venus in Pisces sextiling Pluto and Saturn in your sign, in Capricorn. And with Venus being the planet of love and Pluto and Saturn being planets of lessons, transformation, hard work, a lot of people actually are looking for relationships or situations that really support them in their purpose, that really support them in their growth, their spiritual path, their life purpose. And I actually do see that some of you are changing a relationship or a situation, leaving something behind with the butterfly and the tarantula. There's a lot of transformation. And it is you choosing between the old and the new. And I think that's what happened with you, Capricorn. You chose something that was old and familiar, and it's feeling very dissatisfying for you. You want to embark on something new, on something that lets you learn and grow, as this Page of Swords. And it really could go either way. This could be a job, this could be a relationship, this could be both. With this butterfly card, especially if it's something that you once loved or someone that you once loved. You're now seeing things have stagnated. So let's see where all of this is going. What are the messages for Capricorn Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the second half of February? And I do want to say The start of this month is a little bit frustrating. Really, this whole month has the potential to be frustrating because we do have a Mercury retrograde right at the middle, and we are already in that pre-shadow phase. We're already feeling things slow down, maybe some miscommunications or mishaps happening already. But there's also a lot of planetary influences that are making us want to move forward, that are making us look into the future of our lives and want to go after our goals, especially when we have, Venus entering Aries on the 7th. There might be a lot of energy for you to really work on the things that can bring you money, that bring you passion, and find relationships that really light that spark for you. But a lot of the time, when we have Venus in fire signs, there's also this tendency of short-lived relationships, these sudden flames that burn out as quickly as they came into our lives. That could be happening for some of you. There's this really exciting prospect at first, but then you get to know this person and it's not what you want. It feels like stuff you've already dealt with in the past, and you want something new. You want some new growth here. And with that moon in Leo on the 9th, people might be getting very dramatic. And they're really thinking about what makes them happy. And perhaps that's what's happening for you as well. Knowing your specific chart, Aries would be your, if I'm not mistaken, that is your 5th house or 4th house? Right? Hold on. No, it's your 3rd house, your house of communication. Right? Nope, sorry, it is your 1st house. I apologize. Which is your house of home. And really wanting to create a life that feels good for you, something to come back home to. And then with the full moon, with Leo, that is your 8th house. And full moons can represent loss. 8th house does talk about joint accounts, working together with someone. The power you get working together with a partner. I really do feel like for some of you, again, general reading, that you could really be thinking about leaving a marriage because it's not serving you. It's not serving your life. You're stuck in the same old patterns. I do have the 6 of Wands in reverse, the 8 of Swords in reverse, and the Queen of Swords with the 2 of Swords. Yeah, someone's holding back, prolonging something. This Queen of Swords and 2 of Swords here. I do actually feel like it is important for you to take some time to make up your mind. Especially towards the second half of the month when we have Mercury retrograde, we do have Mars entering your sign. There is going to be this desire to really push forward and make some changes in your life. But with that Mercury retrograde, it might not be the right time. Especially being in your 3rd house, Pisces being your 3rd house, that it does pertain to your communication. You might not be hearing things as clearly as you think you are, or people might not be communicating as well as they normally would be, and there's a lot of potential for misunderstanding, so maybe that's why you need to kind of hold off on the situation here before you decide to cut someone out as this Queen of Swords. Really hear them out. I do feel like with the 6 of Wands in reverse, something is happening a bit slower than you want it to. There is this sense of delay. Because the 6 of Wands represents the return from battle. You've been fighting for a battle for some time. Maybe this is your career or just in your life in general. You were expecting something to come through this month, and it might take some time. However, with this Eight of Swords in reverse, I want to clarify this. Why is the Eight of Swords in reverse on the table? Why is the Eight of Swords in reverse on the table? Show me clearly. I just had a bunch of cards try coming out here. Oops, that's too many. I hate when the cards flip like this. Let's see. Why is the Eight of Swords in reverse here for Capricorn? Show me clearly. The Empress. With all of this dynamic energy that's happening in this Mercury retrograde, I actually feel like you are really discovering your worth. And that's a great thing. And perhaps this thing that didn't play out the way you expected it to, or it's taking longer, this victory, this Six of Wands, it might actually be helping you leave a situation. Because it's like, well, if this isn't going to come through, if I'm not going to get what I expected out of the situation, maybe I should just leave. Because there is something else here for me that's much more abundant, that's much more loving. But you're still thinking about it. And sometimes we just need to give ourselves permission to look elsewhere. And that actually is what frees us. That's what releases us. Even if we don't make that change right away. Because I don't feel like we're going to see a lot of action for you right at the end of February in terms of you changing things. It's more like you're reflecting. Things are becoming clearer. You're planning things. And always remember to stay open with Mercury retrograde. A lot of the time we suffer from something called confirmation bias, and I actually think that's going to be very prevalent with this particular Mercury retrograde. It's basically the psychological concept where we interpret or look for information in such a way as to prove what we already believe or what we already feel about a situation. And if you're going in with this attitude like, oh no, this is just not for me, this isn't going to work, then you are going to keep seeing things that aren't working in that situation. I think you really need to be objective. And I'm not saying that things are working, that you shouldn't leave the situation if that's what you're considering, but just be mindful that it really does pay to be a neutral observer in situations and really understand what exactly it is that's going on in the situation that is not working, and don't look for more problems. There is definitely something that needs to be brought back into balance with this Vulture card. There's this kind of stagnant or dead energy in your life. And Vulture teaches us how to use this energy to sustain ourselves. So this is actually really beautiful that this is coming up. You know, it's almost finding the silver lining in loss, the silver lining in a death, because Vulture is able to use that and nourish itself. And also, you know, take care of the environment, clean the space around it. Some of you are going to be needing to clear out your space. Some of you are really stepping into your own abode here as this Empress. And that's going to actually help you feel better, to have a place to come back to have some time to yourself. That's really, really important. And this earthworm energy, I was picking this up on with the Empress energy. There actually is a new offer of abundance coming in. But it feels like it's very much in the early stages. Some of you are going to be making a decision towards the end of February or even in March about work, about career. And it's going to lead you to long-term success because you have some fertile soil here. But first, with this vulture energy, something needs to be cleared out. Something needs to be brought back into balance. You have this vulture kind of circling over your head, and I think you need to deal with that energy first. Or maybe... Actually, no. The way I interpret this, it's like you see this vulture circling overhead, and it's making you realize that the situation you're in isn't sustainable in the long term, and you're now looking for something else. And I think you're going to be finding that. You're paying attention to these signs. Some of you also kind of out of left field, I'm getting mediumship for some of you. You may be feeling connected to a deceased loved one or a spirit guide, especially towards the second half of February, because when we do have Mercury retrograde in a water sign, especially Pisces, we can see an increase in psychic and intuitive faculties because Mercury retrograde means that Mercury is going inward. We still might not understand the intuitions or senses or impressions that are coming to us right away. It might feel a little abstract. And we might not even be sure what to do with it right away, which I'm sort of seeing that with you, Capricorn. You're not quite sure what to do with it now. But you are sensing this shift. You are being guided. I'm actually getting kind of a maternal energy for those of you who are resonating with this deceased loved one. You might be feeling their energy a lot. They're letting you know that they're there. And we do also have a Pisces new moon on the 23rd, I believe, which is, again, a great time to increase psychic abilities, to increase that intuitive connection. You might be getting guidance from a loved one for your own life, how to proceed in this situation. But I don't think you're supposed to know right now. I think you're just supposed to identify what is and isn't working. And it does feel like there's some abundance coming in. I do feel like there's one more message, though. That flew right out. The Hermit. Yeah, you are taking time for yourself. You are pulling away from a situation. I was feeling that with Empress. You're kind of going into your cave, and that makes a lot of sense. Communication, that's actually a great way of sort of dealing with this Mercury retrograde for you. Obviously, we can't live our lives around Mercury retrograde. Not all of us have the privilege or ability to work with these cycles in that way. But if you can take some time to mull over things, that could be a good idea. I do also feel like with the Hierophant kind of showing up in the earlier energy, the first part of this month, and the Hermit, some of you are also seeking out advice from someone who is more experienced than you in a certain field. They could be a mentor, they could be a spiritual teacher, or you could just be learning new concepts, especially with that Page of Swords. You are learning a lot this month and planning. Some of you could be getting some help from a Taurus or Virgo especially. I'm seeing those energies pop out quite a bit. Maybe a Libra individual as well, someone with a lot of Libra placements. You're being very strategic. And I actually think that's really good. And again, this feels like a spiritual time for you. You're really connecting to your own spirit. And I think, I know for a lot of these readings, a lot of people want to know like what in their physical life is going to be changing. But I think spiritually, there's a lot of powerful shifts that are happening for you. You're freeing yourself from old ways of thinking about things. You might be looking at an old approach. Maybe you're consulting some people. And you're figuring out what's useful there, or what's useful from an old system or ideology, and then kind of extracting something with this Hermit energy and making it your own. And that's very Capricorn. Those are all the messages I'm getting for you right now, Capricorn. I do hope that this reading was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what is happening for all of you. I'd be very curious to hear what this change you're looking at. What are these things you're bringing back into balance? And be sure to be supportive of one another in the comments as well. Again, all of my links are in the description box down below. I will have my services back up towards the middle of the month. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Capricorn.